Welcome to another Kings of War Battle Report, the Epic Quest 19. Undead versus the Forces of Nature for 2,300 points, and the scenario was Invade. If you are watching this for the first time, there are 18 previous battle reports in the Epic Quest. The Epic Quest is a plan I have to use every one of the armies I can field and that I own. I made most of the army lists in advance so as to not kind of make a list toward any particular foe. I have 20 armies. I own some more, actually. I've got multiples of some. And I have an Abyssal Dwarf army, which is my new project, but it's not painted yet. In order to be in the Epic Quest, the armies must be fully painted. Basing on some is still a work in progress because I never can figure out how to match them up. Why? Well, it's a nice way to use all of them and motivates me to paint new units. Some of them I did. I painted whole entire new units just to be able to flesh these armies out and use them in this Epic Quest. Well, Craig did send me his list, but I'm just going to go from what I see on the pictures. He had 2 Beasts of Nature, 2 hordes of Salamander Primes, 4 troops of Hunters of the Wild, 2 hordes of Forest Shamblers, a Greater Earth Elemental, a Forest Warden with the Loot, a Druid with Surge and Banechant, and lastly a Salamander Veteran with a Guided Flame. My Undead list is one based off of one of Tom Annis's old lists. It's not exactly the same, but it's close. It's 2 regiments of zombies, 2 regiments of Soul Reaver infantry, one with the Blessing of the Gods and the other one with the Chalice of Wrath, a Death Pack, 3 troops of Revenant cavalry, one with Hans, one with the Mead of Madness, and the other one with nothing, 1 regiment of Soul Reaver cavalry with a Potion of the Caterpillar, a horde of Blights with the Brew of Haste, a Gore Blight, a vampire on Undead Pegasus with Dwarven Ale, 2 Revenant Kings, one with the Mace of Crushing and the other one with the Sword of Slashing for 22 unit strength and 14 drops. Okay, with the Invade scenario, of course, everybody's trying to get to the other side of the table. The biggest problem here is that both ends of the table are screwed up with impassable terrain, and then there's 2 large impassable terrains right in the middle. So the table's we're basically playing on a forfeit table. That's the bad thing about this, is there's really not going to be very much maneuver because there's just no way to get around each other's flanks with so much terrain in the way. So on the Undead right flank, I put a troop of Revenant Cav there and the Death Pack and both units of zombies. My goal here is just simply to hold things up on that side while I attacked on the other side. The Gore Blight actually kind of solidified the middle of the line there. In the middle, I put all of my power troops, both units of Soul Reaver infantry and the Soul Reaver Cav. They are going to hopefully just punch right up the middle and destroy everything. So over here on the left flank, I did put the Vampire Pegasus, hoping that maybe it could do something to break this deadlock. All of a sudden, the Whites were there, as well as both Revenant Kings and 2 troops of Revenant Cav. But like I said, with the terrain that's on this table, there's no way I'm going to get around the flank like I think I need to try to win this game. Opposing my left flank were 2 Beasts of Nature and a Hunters of the Wild unit. And it's basically going to scout forward to continue to block up that hole there. I have really no chance of killing those guys with those Revenant Cav because of being hindered. I really like how Craig had this formation here in the middle with 2 units of Hunters of the Wild. There's actually 3, but you'll see that in the next picture. And the 2 units of Salamander Primes with the Druid and the Salamander Veteran with the Guiding Flame. That is a very strong group of units thrown together there. So on the extreme left end of the line, Craig had the 2 troops of Hunters of the Wild, then the 2 hordes of Forest Shamblers, and then a Greater Earth Elemental. And behind them was the same Druid that you've seen before, holding up this end of the line. And it's going to be really easy because he's going to be able to scout forward and then basically has that tower here to support his left flank. Don't have to really worry about me getting around there. So Craig got first one and jammed me up with bringing both Beasts of Nature forward along with the scouting unit of Hunters of the Wild. Over here, everything else scouted forward, and then the Earth Elemental was shambled forward at least an inch. I don't think it was much more than that. But everything else just kind of moved to form a battle line over here. Yeah, here my hapless troops are ready to die again. There was really no reason to move anything. Uh, like I said, if I move forward, I'm just going to get slaughtered. And right now I have a little ambush set up with my Revenant Cav to the right-hand side. I just held my middle, just waiting for him to move forward and make a mistake. I know he's using those units for chaff, but I know I'm pretty sure I can blow them all away in one go. Over on the my left side, I just backed up my guys. This terrain totally has me screwed. So I thought better to wait for him to come through that difficult ground and then either attack him with the whites or the cav or all the heroes at once and kill whichever unit decides it feels bold enough to make that jump. So in Craig's turn, he had continued to move forward. He really didn't have any shooting, so there's really nothing else he could do. So he moves forward with everything, and I decided I'm just going to slaughter everything that I could get my hands on early in the game here and get rid of all of his chaff in one go, if possible. So I decided I'm just going to blow through the middle of the table. So I charged one of my Revenant Kings into his Salamander Primes to keep them from moving, and then the whites and the unit of Soul Reaver Infantry into one, the other Soul Reaver Infantry into the other, and the other Soul Reaver Infantry and the Goreblight to protect the flank of my Soul Reavers if they for somehow failed to kill that unit of Hunters of the Wild. So like I said, I have a plan. I'm going to blow all this stupid chaff out of the way because I know my units, the Soul Reavers and the whites and all that, can blow away even those Salamander Primes. So I don't really have any fear of them at all. So in Craig's turn, he had moved his flyers toward the middle, so that let me move my Revenant Cav forward again. The Revenant King moves over to the edge of the impassable terrain there to use it as cover, and then the Vampire on Undead Pegasus also moves forward, ready to jump on something here and kill it. Got to say my plan worked perfectly here because we do like elite undead units do. We slaughter everything in front of us, and now we are in position to follow up and try to kill those Salamander Prime units, which are his primary unit strength in the invade scenario. So Craig decides to do a little reprisal. He charges into my Revenant King, or countercharges into him. The reason why I couldn't just charge through him is because he would still be on top of my bases, and he wouldn't be allowed to do that. And so the Salamander Primes charge one of my units of Soul Reavers, and I'm thinking it might be the one in the middle, but I'm not positive. And then one of the Beast of Nature charged into my Soul Reaver Knights, and hopefully all these people will pay for their impudence. Yeah, I knew that my right flank was going to get crushed. The Tree Shamblers charge into my Undead Swarm over there. The Earth Elemental goes ahead and charges into one of my units of zombies, and then the other unit of Tree Shamblers charge into my Goreblight, and I'm just hoping they could hold out for a little bit. I'm not really sure why I took that swarm. Maybe it was something in somebody else's list, or maybe I just had the models and I've never used them, but I'd probably never take that again. I would just as soon had another regiment of zombies. Yeah, I didn't take very much damage from all those attacks. I was expecting much worse, but now I was going to get to do some retribution myself. I forgot that the other Beast of Nature flew into my whites this turn as well to try to stop me up here. But like I said, I'm not exactly scared of all these units, and hopefully I'll get some major retribution next turn. Yeah, this was going to be bad. The Earth Elemental one-shotted my unit of zombies. I actually thought maybe I would hold for one turn, but that was not good. That he got rid of them in one shot. Yeah, the Force Shamblers did their job just as well, and then they turned to face my Revenant Cavalry. Kind of wish I would have just moved that Revenant Cavalry toward the edge of the table, even into that difficult terrain over there, because but the problem is, of course, it's dead. It shambles, and so it really can't outflank anything without some support there. So without any opposition over here from the Flyers, I go ahead and keep moving my Revenant Cav up. I know at some point in time I'm going to get these guys, but what I'm hoping for is to him to only charge one at hold, then I'll be able to flank it with the other unit. So the zombies go ahead and charge into the front of the Earth Elemental. They weren't going to hurt it or anything, but I'm hoping they'll just hold him for a turn. Both units of Soul Reaver infantry easily destroyed the unit of Salamander Primes, and one of the units of Soul Reaver infantry turns to the right. That way, it can either it can take out whatever happens to punch through this turn. And as you can see, without really any good place to fly my vampire, I flew it behind his lines to start threatening the rear of some of his units over here. So yeah, my whites and the Revenant King easily destroyed one of the Beast of Nature. The other one was just wounded a lot but did not die. But you can see I've wiped out the middle of the table almost with this, and it's just a matter of time before the other Beast of Nature is going to get whacked too. The question here is how fast can I exploit this little maneuver here with all of his heavy stuff coming down down my right flank. Okay, without the Beast of Nature running around, I was going to try to exploit this end of the table because I needed these points for the invade scenario. So I just went ahead and provoked. All I could do is charge one. I figured if I would have spaced him a little bit better, no matter what, I could have got a flank on the next one, but I didn't do it. So Craig managed to kill my last Revenant King, and then he just kind of lined up to see if he could do something to stop my Soul Reaver cavalry. But I had another unit of Soul Reavers that was going to be able to help me out there. Plus, like you see, the vampires jump behind the lines. I really don't think I used the vampire that well the whole game, but it was just kind of hard since at least at first, Craig had the superiority in flyers. So yeah, the Goreblight bit at this turn, and now his Forest Shamblers are turning the wrong way from his other unit of Forest Shamblers is over here chasing after my Revenant Cav, which kind of makes me happy. But on the other hand, it doesn't make me happy because they had a lot of unit strength that I was going to have to make up for. Yeah, I was running out of room to run. I almost think, like I said, I should have deployed this unit way over to the right early in the game and just started marching, trying to get across that swamp because I wasn't going to be any slower than being shambling anyway. So, but just thinking about it as far as the scenario, this would have been a better idea than trying to do what I did. But on the other hand, now he's having to chase him. So I don't know. In my turn, I did go ahead and charge into his Forest Shamblers. In the total, looking back on it, the best thing would have been is to stay the hell over there. That way I wouldn't have been close to my lines where he could kill this unit and then reinforce his lines. So, I mean, I would have been off leaving these units back as bait and just let him kill them back there because it doesn't matter. So the vampire and the unharmed unit of Soul Reavers slams into the unit of Forest Shamblers, and I do believe I took him off the table this turn. So my Soul Reaver Cav countercharged, and then the other unit of Soul Reaver infantry goes ahead and charges into the unit of Salamander Primes. I don't know if they had any wounds on them or not, but they were about to have a little bit of wounds from the unit of infantry. So both of my units of cavalry charged and did 0 hits and basically 0 wounds, of course, because I did 0 hits. It was crazy. So the Beast of Nature died this turn, and now that unit of Salamander Primes was doomed in the following on turns. Yeah, the Forest Shamblers were destroyed this turn. The vampire overran within a 1/4 inch of the Forest Warden, and now I'm going to have to contend with that Greater Earth Elemental. So Craig charged the Forest Warden and the Greater Earth Elemental into my undamaged unit of Soul Reavers, and I thought, well, I'll take 6-7 wounds and I'll be fine. No, I got slaughtered. Rolled really, really well and took him out of the game, and I was really counting on this unit to hold for a turn. I had no thoughts that I could kill that Greater Earth Elemental, but I was just hoping to hold it up for the last 2 turns. Yeah, not stopping that unit's really gonna hurt me because now he is free to roam around what's left of my line back over here at the other side, because I'm probably going to kill the Salamander Primes, but now I have to deal with that big thing. So with 2 elite units, they slam into the Salamander Primes and just obliterate them. Wasn't even close. I mean, that's just so many attacks that there's just no way that most things are going to survive that. The mistake I made right here nearly cost me the game. Instead of just turning the cavalry around along with the Soul Reaver infantry, I overran to see if I could get away from them. And sure enough, I was within 12 inches, and all I had to do was measure. I was a moron. It's very rare that I make a mistake that's this grave, but it's going to make the game go from potentially an easy victory to now almost a total disaster. Believe it or not, even with a flank charge on his Hunters of the Wild, I did no wounds again. So I was in definite trouble because at least one of those units may have been across the middle line, but the other definitely was not. And his may have been too. So this is going to be a crucial part of this fight. Yeah, and the other mistake of this game, I should have made his Forest Shamblers charge after those Revenant Cav, but instead I charged into them. Now they're so close, they're going to be able to go in and get my Vampire if I can't get away. So what I'm going to do in my turn is I'm going to just back up as far as I can to get across the table. So yeah, then the Greater Earth Elemental charges into the rear of my cavalry unit. And of course that's going to put paid to them. They're going to be gone for the game. And now I'm in real trouble again because I can't hardly get the Soul Reavers away from them either. I mean, like I said, all I would have had to do is turn one unit. The best you could do is kill one. I didn't have to. Now I'm going to chance of losing both on the last turn of the game. So yeah, here you can see my Vampire. He just backed off as far as possible to get over to the other side of the table. It's one of those things in a game like this is that, he probably could charge into him. Odds are he won't kill the Vampire. And then he's gave up a point for charging over to the wrong side of the table. So I felt like I was pretty safe right here. So this turn, the Greater Earth Elemental didn't do near as much damage when he charged into the unit of Soul Reaver infantry, and I simply backed them on turn 6 back across the middle line, and that's going to give me the win. We did roll for a turn 7. If it had been a turn 7, I absolutely would have lost. There is no doubt in my mind. But I was exceptionally lucky, especially after making 2 exceptionally bad choices in this game for some of my movement. What you don't see over here to the left is that finally the Revenant Cav decided to end that unit of Hunters of the Wild, and then that gave me 2 points there, 2 points for the unit of infantry, and then 1 point for the Vampire. So that's going to give me 5, and he had 4. So I was able to win the game 5-4. Wow, what a very, very close game. I mean, really, basically, it was one dice roll to win or lose the game because if there would have been a turn 7, I was toast. I mean, if he could have because he could have risked running his Earth Elemental over for 1 point across the table and killing my last unit of Soul Reaver infantry. So, excuse me. So it would have been worthwhile for him to do it. So basically, the whole game came down to one dice roll. Sometimes I think that one of the things that's happened in this Epic Quest thing is I'm playing armies I'm not used to playing, and boy did I realize at this game I forgot all about the surge on the units of Revenant Kings that I had. They were the only surge source, pretty much the only Inspire source in the army, and I just flitted them away like they were nothing. So there was a great bit of learning experience here, and I don't really understand why I had the Death Pack in the army when I could have just had another whole regiment of zombies. Maybe I had some idea in mind when I developed this list, but they're pretty much worthless. I mean, zombies cost just about the same. So I think it's because they're live and they can march. I think that was why that was a choice on my part. And, honestly, if I could look back through my stuff, I have some really cool old GW bats that would make pretty decent death packs, and probably what's really intended for them anyway. In this game, I made several mistakes, and that's why I'm saying some of that's just from playing so many different armies in this thing. And this is one of the few armies that I have that shambles. The other armies that shamble, I don't really even care if they shamble or not because they're armor 6. You want to charge me, fine, if you're armor 6. But this army was totally different. I really could have used one of the Revenant Kings down here on this right-hand side of the table to use Surge, and it wouldn't have killed anything, but it could have at least occupied stuff another turn, or the threat of it would have potentially have done that. So a couple of mistakes there. The biggest mistake was toward the end of the game was not measuring how far his Greater Earth Elemental was away from my cavalry. My cavalry was down to only 2 or 3 wounds because of Life Leech, so I should have been able to hold against that Greater Earth Elemental, or at least a decent chance of holding, while the other unit escaped. And as opposed to, then I had to fight it off the rest of the game to try to win on on a lucky dice roll on turn 6. So I misplayed a lot of stuff this game. I think Craig texted me that he had misplayed something, that he had put the breath weapons on the on his Beast of Nature. And he said that was a waste of points. I said, yeah, but I spotted you a almost 300-point unit of Soul Reaver cavalry at the end of on turn 5. I said, I think that was the difference there. So, I mean, it was kind of amusing thinking about both of us, the mistakes that we made. I don't really think Craig made any mistakes on this game. I think he just took advantage of the stuff that I did. The only thing I thought was that I think he maybe abandoned this left flank too soon, because two of his generals on Winged Beast, I mean, not general, that's not what they are. They're Beasts of Nature. He could have just charged in and killed this Revenant Calf and then started turning down the line. I mean, all I had was one vampire there to stop him. I mean, I probably could have kept him out of the game for a while, but I mean, I really think he could have just killed my extreme left flank very quickly. And even if I do occupy him, what does it matter? So, I mean, they moved over here in the middle, and that helped the middle, but the middle was going to inevitably die anyway. And all it really did was cost him two Beasts of Nature in the same thing. So I did like the idea of that, even sacrificing him, because it did delay it long enough for the Greater Earth Elemental to come around the flank and basically destroy the whole army by itself. So well played there, Craig. Like I said, I just don't know what the right way of doing that would have been. I mean, my own opinion, I would have probably just pressed the left flank down here, and with the two generals, I mean the two Beasts of Nature, and just killed that cavalry. And there's two unit strength, and you've got and now you're up 2, because I'm down 2, and now you've got yours already across the table, and then you could just start messing with me by coming down the line. But I just think that that would have been probably a better use of those. As far as over here on the my right flank, I really missed not having at least one threat unit there. But I figured it would take, with the low number of swings of that Greater Earth Elemental, I didn't really expect it to come powering through units, one-shotting them each turn. I mean, he should do about 6 wounds a turn, and that's survivable with my units. I mean, they're even the zombies are survivable at that range of damage. But he rolled a little bit above average, and that's all it took. Then now you're breaking on a 7, which is happens most of the time. So good deal there. I did like this list a little bit with the Forces of Nature list, because I like I always have liked the Hunters of the Wild, using them for the advanced thing, because I use them in my Forces of Nature army too, and my Sylvankin and my Elves, all for the same purpose, which is to get up in your face early in the game. Where I thought it was not done well, it was when I was able to annihilate all 4 units without really losing anything in return. And so that was maybe not as good of a choice there. But I mean, it's really weird when you play Invade, because sometimes you can just basically stop at the middle of the table and wait till the end of the game and just push across instead of trying to fight it out so much. There was no way I could have done that because of having so many shambling units. So, I mean, for Craig, that could have easily been a valuable tactic, was just to get to the middle of the table and stay there for a while and charge me short of the middle line and hold for a little bit, and then you win without even having to fight with your Salamander Primes. So it's always a thought. Like I said, Invade is a weird scenario. It's an easy scenario, but there's a couple of ways to play it, that are that you could play, like I said, the holdback and try to get it late, or you can just do like I do sometimes when I have faster army. I just go across the middle and just beat the hell out of them on their side of the table, and there's no way they could beat me. So, like I said, it's a kind of a weird scenario, just in the fact that there are so many good strategies for it. And I was playing this scenario. I was just the hopeless part for me was trying to get past this difficult terrain on both sides of the table to try to get to score units. Because, again, I had shambling units. That did not help me a bit. And if those were live units, I mean, I would have easily zipped around the flank, even with the difficult terrain over here. So, anyway, it was a great battle. Battle 19 of the Epic Quest. There's only one battle left, and that's Riftforge Orcs. And I don't know who I'm playing yet. I have put out a challenge to everybody to see if they can take me down with yet another new army. And I hope that somebody steps forward this week and tries to put a stomping on me. Well, I appreciate everybody watching so far, and I'll talk to you next week.